Hello, Rebel Squad. Yes, you have all officially been indoctrinated into the squad. So welcome. Welcome to another one of our podcast, YouTube videos. We're excited to have you. For those of you that can see me, you can see the amazing background. If you can't, imagine palm trees in the background because I am outside. So hopefully we get to do this without too much interruption. Anyway, today I am going to call our session the Rebel Revelations because I want to share with you some of my philosophy, a little different than my story, and a little bit about what sets us apart, how we work, and why our clients are so successful. So let's get into it. Three things I want to focus on today is shifting mentality, creating food freedom, and getting in touch with your intuition, your gut instinct, your intuitive side, because we all have one and we don't listen to it often enough. So let's go with the first one, shifting mentality. What does that even mean? Well, if I could encourage all of you to get off the diet roller coaster and to end the diet culture, I would love to do that. But I know as long as there are books and as long as there's really good marketing and as long as there's social media, that is not happening. So I'm going to avoid the rant about going off of diets. That was my rant. And I really want to talk about shifting your mentality because this is not about a one size fits all approach. This is not about here is a meal plan and go follow it for 4 weeks. It is not about finding that perfect next thing because there's no such thing. And if you have been on and off diets, you know that. Yet you see a friend who looks amazing and has lost all this weight and you're like, oh wait, what did you do, and then you try it, it's the same thing. I encourage you to go add up all the time, the money, and the energy that you have spent doing these things, and you might be surprised. But shifting the mentality means getting off of and out of that diet culture, the culture that so many of us have been stuck in for so long. And that is a really hard thing to let go of, especially if you've been calorie counting your whole life, or if you're on a diet that watches the carbs or watches the fats, and you're really just pigeonholing yourself into sort of these plans. It is really hard because we don't trust ourselves enough to even know what to do, right? There's a lot of misinformation. You all know that. There's a lot of things flying, and I don't even know where half of these things get started. Many times when people come in and say, oh, I'm on this diet or that diet. But it really is about getting that culture, which is, again, so hard to do, but shifting to a plan that is more about supporting your health, being what I call nutritionally supportive. So it means including all foods in the healthiest way possible, including all natural foods in the healthiest way possible. And people always say to me, well, what do you eat? And do you ever cheat? And I always say, we don't call it that. Part of what the work that we do in shifting mentality is also shifting how we talk to ourselves, the language, when we call ourselves good, when we call ourselves bad, when we say we're on a diet and off a diet, that resonates in a way that talks to our bodies. So how we talk to ourselves is really, really important. And yes, do I indulge every once in a while? I do. I do like a good slice of pizza. I do eat ice cream. Is it often? No, because I can tell you that I don't always feel so good when I eat those things, right? I have been off of gluten for so long, or I shouldn't say off. I moderate my gluten intake, that if I have too much of it, I don't feel well. Same thing with sugar. If I have too much sugar, I don't feel well. So I really do those things that resonate with my body. And that is getting off of diet culture. And so that is what we want to encourage you to do. And we encourage our clients to do, because the longer you can do that, and anybody tells you that it takes 20 days or 21 days or 28 days to change a habit that is not true. Okay. It may be in the books that says in the books and the research, and maybe if you practice it consistently over and over. But I will tell you, in our experience, it takes 3 months. 3 months to shift a habit. And that's one habit. And that is the other thing, the expectation. When you're shifting mentality and when you're shifting your way of thinking. You have to also know that it takes time to change these habits. So we go into these diets thinking, oh, well, I'm going to change everything that I'm doing for a month. And if it's not sustainable and if it's not realistic, why are you doing it? Because you are setting yourself up for failure. Anybody can follow a plan for 4 weeks. Anybody can follow a plan for 4 or 5, 6 weeks. It's that sixth week that we know those self-sabotaging behaviors come in. And if you don't have the right support, and if you don't have the right accountability for that, then boom, you're just off of another diet. So shifting the mentality, getting out of that diet culture is going to be something that I am going to encourage you to do. Number 2 is food freedom. What does that even mean? I mean, how many of you think about food all day long? Right? You wake up, I don't know what I'm going to eat for breakfast. I don't know what I'm going to eat for lunch. You stress about eating dinner, right? Oh, what am I going to make the kids? And should I be eating this? Should I be eating that? Oh, wait, I can't have rice because I'm off carbs. Oh, no, but wait, I can't have avocados because it's too much fat. Am I on keto? Am I off keto? Like, seriously, it is stressful. Life is stressful. And then we add on top of this, like, what should you be eating any given day of the week? And it's all encompassing. So when we talk about food freedom, we are talking about teaching you how to eat in a way that it's not making a food good or a food bad, or should I be eating kale? Should I not be eating kale? Should I be eating beans? Should I not be eating beans? Do I stay off of lectins? Do I not? When we work with foods in a way that is nutritionally supportive, and you get to know the own nuances of how your body responds. That's so important. We'll get to that in a second about the intuitive eating piece. But food freedom is about creating a plan where if you are eating real foods, whole foods as they've come out of the ground, and if you put them on your plate and you have color and you have fiber and you have a little bit of protein, and let's say you're starchy carbs, and again, these are the things that we talk about and we encourage people to do and learn how to make and not eat the same things over and over, that creates a nutritionally supportive meal plan. And that creates food freedom for you, because it is exhausting, as I know you all know, having to think about what you should be eating. Is it the right thing? And so in order to break that, we really work with our clients on paying attention to the nuances of how your body feels. And that brings me into my next topic, which is intuitive eating. And look, I could talk about any of these things for a really long time, but I think you get the point, right? I think that the only way to really understand what food freedom is to start to let go of what we talked about first, is the diet mentality, and then understanding that no foods are necessarily off limits, at least overall, right? We know, and I talk about the genomic testing all the time, and I talk about nutrient testing. Yes, there are certain tests that we can do that can identify food allergies and sensitivities. And yes, genomics helps us understand your personal blueprint. But if you are not ready or willing or able to do this testing, it does not mean that you can't work with us. You don't have to do the testing to have some coaching. You don't have to do all of that just to start to understand how to create a food foundation. And that is what we talk about, because if you don't have a solid food foundation, and let's face it, I think most people don't, because they're so confused about what to eat. You go to the doctor and the doctor says lose weight, and most of the time they'll hand you a book, but it depends upon what book is in. And that's certainly not helpful, because again, if it's not an one size fits all approach, how do you even know what's right for you? So that gets us to the next topic of intuitive eating. And intuitive eating is just that. It's getting reconnected with your own body signals. And we start out when we're born with these awesome food signals, right? We eat when we're hungry, and we cry as babies, we get fed, and that's enough, we're good. And yet somehow, again, through family upbringing and whatever your culture traditions are, whatever the stories are, right? I remember my grandfather used to say, when there was a plate in front of you, and if you didn't finish it, it was either the starving children in Africa or food cost a lot of money. He was raised in the Depression, so food costs a lot of money. You have to eat it. And so what happens is we override our own body signals. And so that's where the emotional eating starts to come into play, and the mindless eating starts to come into play. Yet if we start to really go back and pay attention to that and pay attention to what our bodies want, most of us are pretty good at doing it when we pay attention to it. And there have been studies on that. People who are of normal weight, or let's say thin or normal thin, are very, very good at paying attention to those cues. They eat when they're hungry, they stop when they're content. And eating when you're hungry means stomach hunger. It's not that mouth hunger that I talk about, which is, oh, it looks good or it smells good, right? You walk into a store, or you're in a mall and you smell those pretzels and you smell those cinnamon buns and all those things. And it's almost like they do it on purpose to drag you in, right? To lure you in. Or you're passing a restaurant, you smell amazing garlic, right? You all of a sudden want to eat, even though you may not be hungry. And so really paying attention to those signals will go so much farther than you think. And people think and it even sounds too simple, but I am telling you, it works. You just need to slow down and listen to your body, and really drown out all the noise. That's the other piece, right? How often do we eat? We're in a big group of people, and it's like peer pressure to eat, or there's always an occasion to eat. We go out to meet friends, we go with family. It's an eating fest. So it's about how to create a plate. Just create one plate, eat the plate, eat the things that you want on the plate. And we do a lot of visualization in the work that we do, and really visualizing some of this stuff, which is really interesting and useful and effective. It is really, really effective. So we have all of these tools that we can use to help people get in touch and back in touch with that intuitive eating piece. So really important. These small little strategies go a long, long way in terms of creating success. So in and of itself, it's not about a perfect food plan. It never is. I always say the food piece of what we do is 20%, maybe 25, maybe for some people 30, but it is never the whole thing. If we don't have all of these other components, if we don't pay attention to our mind and what our mind is telling our body, then we're going to have disconnected signals. And we are very disconnected from ourselves. So until we kind of take that back, it is it's almost an effort and futility to try to keep doing these diets, because again, diets are the short-term fix to the long-term problem. So like I said, to recap, because I could go on and on about this, but recap, it is all about shifting your mentality. It is all about food freedom and intuition. Get back into the intuitive eating, and you will see just these three things can completely shift your results with not just weight loss, because again, weight loss is just a part of the equation. It's really the symptom of the imbalance. That'll be for another podcast. But weight loss is just the symptom, and it's about your health. It is about being healthy. It is about being well, and it is about living your best, healthiest, longest life. So with that, thank you for joining us. I hope you took away something from this. And as always, make it a healthy day, and we will see you soon.